Imagine you're walking alongside your family down the street. It's a sunny day, and all seems to be pure happiness. All of a sudden, commotion is heard nearby, and you begin to worry. Then, a group of armed men approach you. They grab your arm, and you and your family are pushed into a vehicle with several others. You are taken to a camp and are still unsure of what is going on. When you reach the camp, you are separated from your family to never know if you will see them again or not. You are shoved in a room with 100 others, where not a single needle fits anymore. All you hear is crying and screaming. The temperature is cold. Eating and going to the restroom is not an option. You are forced to live under inhumane circumstances, not knowing what awaits you in the future. Imagine this. Imagine your basic human rights being violated.
We believe in human rights. We believe in fundamental rights, in freedom, and the core values that bind the entire human family. But there are few who don't respect these rights. Human rights are entitled to every individual right from birth till death. These rights see no race, gender, religion, or nationality. To protect these rights, a document was signed called Universal Declaration of Human Rights, stating whenever any individual is neglected of these rights, there is a violation and the government will be held responsible. So, good afternoon, everyone present here. Today, I, along with Anna, Daniel, Pratik, and Karthik, are going to present on this topic that has been occurring throughout history. We saw it in the Holocaust, and now we're seeing it today at re education camps in China and immigration detention centers in USA, to name a few.
It wouldn't be surprising to learn that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was prepared and signed within a few years after the end of World War II. It was only natural to sign this document to avoid any horrors like the Holocaust against humanity ever again. The totalitarian ideology that was spread through Nazism led to a culture of intolerance. Their perception of being superior and their need to assimilate or end everything unlike them led to harrowing violence towards other communities. To curb these extremities was the main agenda of this document. The following are a few articles in the Declaration that were a direct response to the Nazi atrocities and aimed to protect all humans against them. Article 1 of the Declaration alludes to freedom and equality for all. This can be seen as a response to the status of the Jews in Nazi Germany, who were far from being free or equal. They were publicly considered as the inferior race by the Nazis. Article 2, which aims to curb discrimination, was to combat widespread racism that occurred due to discrimination, which also led to mass genocide through deadly methods. The gas chambers that were cruelly used to kill prisoners seem to have led to the existence of Article 3, which speaks about the right to life, liberty, and security of person. The prisoners were deprived of all liberty through imprisonment, enslavement, and even murder. In Nazi Germany, even pregnant women and children were not safe from all the medical experiments in the most inhumane way to unlawfully punish them. We can clearly see how Article 5, that talks about how no one should be tortured, inhumanely treated, or punished, was authored to ensure no one had to go through those nightmares ever again. Article 9, freedom of conscience and religion. As we all know, Nazism didn't allow for the coexistence of any religion alongside it. This article ensures that humans would never suffer like the Jews, who were exterminated at a mass scale for following their religion. As we can see, the Holocaust and World War II were very influential to the genesis of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights due to its severe and mass violation of them in its absence.
We can see history repeating itself in these Chinese camps where mass human rights are being violated. Located in the northwestern region of Xinjiang, which houses the largest population of Uyghurs. Uyghurs are a Turkish minority group. As you can see in the image, this is a Holocaust camp located in Germany, while the second image shows a re education camp in the Xinjiang region. China has been suppressing these minority groups by putting them into vocational camps with the aim of converting their thoughts and beliefs. This is to transform their thoughts and beliefs that are more in line with the Communist Party They do this through forced conversion, which they call combat training and education. Due to the media control by the Chinese authority, there is little information that has gotten out, therefore making it harder for us to imagine what is it to live like in these camps. Most of the images that you see are taken from a satellite view of European Space Agency. However, recently BBC was allowed minimal access into the classrooms. These camps where they saw was a scripted act where they observed acts like inmates painting, dancing, and singing patriotic songs, giving glory to the Communist Party. They were not allowed to access the living facilities. As one Xinjiang resident puts it, there's tens of thousands of people that have some problem with their thoughts. To put it in simple terms, Uyghurs are being put into camps to re-educate their thoughts and beliefs and put them more in line with the Communist Party. China has at least 400 internment camps in the Xinjiang region, with many more being built. If you did not know, internment means imprisonment or confinement of people that are considered political enemies or seen enemies to the state. These detention centers have been established across the region in the Xinjiang since 2017, ranging from the lowest security re-education camp to fortified prisons. Reported abuses include arbitrary detention, torture, conceived birth control, and medical neglect. This is China's way to wipe out the Uyghur culture and population and remove anything that does not symbolize what the Communist Party believes and thinks in. If we do not change what we see, history holds troubling precedents about where such a project might end up.
Now we go to the US. As you saw, this is China's re-education camp, and this is an immigration center. Immigration detention, by definition, is a deprivation of liberty for migration-related issues. Detainees can be detained for days, months, and even years, where living conditions are inhumane, where humans are packed like potato sacks, one on top of the other, while being medically restricted. Medical restrictions include from detainees being denied inhalers for asthma, sulfur showering, to being denied immediate treatment for broken bones or major illnesses. They remain detained until their migration application is processed, and they are scheduled to be deported. However, many who do not speak English are detained and forced to sign their deportation papers without a proper translator to assist them. In 2017, at least 39 adults died under ICE custody, 12 of these being from suicide, since detention centers do not offer any mental health professional staff. And in 2019, 9 Indian men who were asylum seekers and being detained in El Paso, Texas by ICE were being force-fed as a result of a peaceful protest. These men had a prolonged detention without an explanation. Their living conditions were poor, and they were denied any lawyer. As a result, they decided to protest this mistreatment by creating a peaceful hunger strike, which led to the act of violence conducted by ICE officials. Another example of poor detention center conditions is often their frigid temperatures. Detention centers are often called hieleras, or ice boxes in English, because of their cold temperatures. Conditions are so unsafe, ICE was giving a lawsuit in 2015, forcing them to meet basic constitutional laws, which are still debatable, since in 2019, in just 2 months, 3 children died of hypothermia under ICE custody in one center. In 2019, at least 76,000 minors, including toddlers and newborns, were detained by ICE near the US-Mexico border, and at least 6 children have died due to the terrible conditions that they were forced to live in. These children leave their country for various reasons, including domestic abuse, criminal gangs, poverty, and local violence, all for the purpose of obtaining asylum by the American government. Now, what if I told you that as I speak right now, there is an ongoing investigation to confirm that women are undergoing hysterectomies, the removal of part or all of the uterus without their consent? A whistleblower at one of the female detention centers in Georgia claimed that at least 6 women have been sterilized. While this has not yet been confirmed, more women are beginning to speak up about this happening to them, the majority saying that the major reason why this is done is because ICE officials often rape them for several times, and in order to prevent a pregnancy, they are forced to undergo a hysterectomy. Now, these are just a few examples of human rights being violated at immigration detention centers on a regular basis. This is a reality, and it still occurs, from developing countries to developed, from autocratic regimes to democratic countries.
To summarize, firstly, we talked about the meaning of human rights, along with what they encompass. In addition to that, we talked about the articles mentioned in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that were developed in response to the infamous Holocaust. Lastly, we talked about two relevant modern-day examples that highlight the fact that the problem still persists. Humanity has progressed in many areas. The leap we have made from the 20th century to the 21st century is phenomenal. However, as we have covered in the presentation, there are places that are actively being used where people are denied even the most basic of human rights. As humans, it is our duty to do all that we can to ensure that each other's rights are upheld. Our generation is supposed to be a generation of change. Let us all come together, join hands, and work towards a future where every human being, regardless of race, caste, religion, family background, etc., is treated equally. The purpose of this presentation was to highlight that this issue, that is, mass violation of human rights, is still a problem, and we hope that we have managed to raise awareness about this sensitive topic. I'd like to conclude the presentation with a quote by the great Nelson Mandela. To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. And with that, we come to the end of our presentation. Thank you and good day.